This is going to be the first episode of the No Prob for Rob, and primarily what the series can consist of is you asking questions about anything in life, and me coming up with a well thought through and prepared answer so that you will feel like either this is something that you agree with or disagree with. Either one is fine, but what it does is it makes you think, and that's what I want. For you to be able to think through what you know about life and to have somebody else's perspective so that you can make up your own mind about what truth is. There is only one truth, but if you can't figure that out for yourself, then you're going to keep on thinking that truth is whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to go through and just have a bunch of answers, and you might not like them, and that's okay, and I'm totally okay with that. So this first question came from a high school student that I know, and this is the gist of his question. He says, I don't see why people date in high school. The relationship won't last. Very few high school relationships last to marriage, and most of the ones that do end in divorce. So why? Why not just wait until you're older and smarter and know what you want to do with your life? It's a great question. I think that a lot of people are on both sides of this. Some people meet in junior high, some meet in high school, and then they live the rest of their lives together. And they spend 60, 70 years enjoying marriage for what it's supposed to be, is a loving relationship no matter what happens, no matter what comes about. Other people, they wait around until they're 20 or 30, or they go through divorce, sadly, like stated as before, not knowing really how to build foundation on what they want their relationship to be. So first of all, let me give the perspective of why not to get married, and then I'll give perspective on the other side. So first of all, when I was in high school, I liked this one girl pretty much all of high school, and uh, I didn't ever tell her for multiple reasons, but I knew that, you know what, if I'm really supposed to be with this person, it's going to be obvious. It's going to be something that I know and she knows, and I won't have to worry about it. God's got that already planned out. So I looked through a lot of different Bible verses when I was in high school about what it means to really be in love with someone. And I found a passage, um, and that most people go to is the 1 Corinthians 13. But if you look into the actual wording of what love is, it's not just phileo. It's not just eros. It's important to understand that the actual lexicon and the words that they used meant different things. Love meant three different things. And the third is agape, and that means sacrificial love, being able to set apart yourself for the needs of another person no matter what happens. So Paul wrote to Timothy in his second letter. So he said this because he understood that, most of the time when you're young, you're not going to know. You're not going to have it all figured out, and you're going to screw things up. So he said in chapter 2, verse 22, flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart. That means really honestly looking for God for wisdom, being able to be righteous no matter what your relationships are with girls or boys. 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5 says this, for this is the will of God, for your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor. So, can you date and still be sanctified and still abstain from sexual immorality? Yes, totally. In Proverbs 18:22 it says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. Doesn't mean you have to do it while you're in high school. Nowhere in the Bible does it ever state you need to start dating someone before you get married. Oftentimes people were kind of bought and sold by the fathers, and a wife would be as much as property that they could give away, by cows and goats and sheep, and it was arranged marriages. There was no love incorporated. You learned how to love that person after you already had the relationship made. Not exactly the happiest of families to start off with, I can imagine. But in Genesis 2:18, it says there that the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper that's fit for him. This was the original plan. God wanted man to be with somebody. He didn't want them to be alone. So C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity had to say this about marriage. His own view, my own view, is that the churches should frankly recognize that the majority of British people are not Christian and therefore cannot be expected to live Christian lives. They ought to be two distinct kinds of marriages, one governed by the state with rules enforced on all citizens, the other governed by the church with rules enforced by her own members. The distinction ought to be quite sharp, so that a man knows which couples are married in the Christian sense and which are not. Ironically enough, if you like Tolkien, he actually disagreed with his friend, but he never sent him the letter. It was found after his death, and it was among a bunch of letters that he actually never sent out. But in his response, it was awesome. He says, you know what? I'm not a Christian, and I disagree with you, C.S. Lewis, because I think that regardless of if you're a Christian or not, there is only one truth. And people should be held to the same standard regardless. And if people aren't, that's infidelity, that's lying, that's cheating. These are the things that hold a core relationship, whether it's united by God or not. Boom, that's like huge. That's crazy that a non-Christian would be able to say something like that and really mean it, enough to write in a letter, even though it was never sent. In 1 Corinthians 7:32 through 34 it says this, I want you to be free from anxiety. The unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord, but a married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife, and his interests are divided. The unmarried and betrothed woman is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to be holy in body and spirit. But a married woman is anxious about worldly things as well, and how to please her husband. There's nothing wrong with being married. Paul was just letting you know, it's going to be a lot tougher, especially if you're getting married in high school or straight out of high school. The reason is that because you don't have a whole lot of life experience. You're not going to be really able to share with your wife or with your husband all the different emotions and how to communicate effectively. So, as you get older and you've had more life experiences, you know how to communicate better. You know how to ask for help. You know how to tell someone, I'm sorry. You know how to forgive someone. Those are all really important elements that a lot of high schoolers haven't really matured into. So, why do high schoolers start dating in high school? They think that they found that soulmate. They think that they found that person that they're going to live with that 70 years. So why not start pursuing that relationship and building a foundation for it now? They think that this is who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And if so, then I need to make sure that this is really going to be beneficial for both sides. If you're just kind of hanging out and being friends, that's great. You'll get to know them in a completely different environment, and you're going to be able to show them how to care for them without just being like fake. Oftentimes, friend-zoned girls and boys act fake around other genders because they don't really know how to show them all that there is inside of them, really showing them their heart and compassion and stuff like that. So if they're dating, you can see more of that lovey-dovey, sentimental, here's what I'm struggling with, how can you pray for me? And those things are really important for a relationship to strengthen and build and to bond. So, do I recommend one way or the other? Not really. I think it's important for each person to make a decision within their own heart and mind to see what it is that they're good at, what they can bring to a relationship, and whether or not their relationship is already strong enough with their family, their friends, with God. If they have those already solid and connected, then they'll be able to help bring more to a relationship than just hoping that another person can fix all their problems. If you're just getting into a relationship to get your problems fixed, you're going to get a lot more problems. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that. Some questions are definitely going to be a lot briefer than that, but since I only had one question, I wanted to make sure that I got a lot more into that. That one's a really deep topic, and people write books about love and marriage and dating, Why Not to Date or I Kiss Dating Goodbye, and all of those books are really important for you to help build your understanding. So keep on researching and don't give up on love.